For centuries, the expectation surrounding this text has been simple. Start on page 1, read left to right, following a linear sequence of historical prose. But topological network analysis reveals an entirely different architecture. This is a scale-free directed graph, designed as an ontological operating system. The system is built on 6,236 individual nodes, bound together by 343,842 interlocking edges. 96.3% of these nodes belong to a single connected component. Connectivity is hub-dominated. Every verse functions as a bridge to others, rather than an isolated point of data. This graph has a specific mechanical purpose. It tracks the transition of unstructured energy into verified, stable physical reality. Navigating this system as a linear sequence is a user error. It functions as a spatial map governing physical and informational laws. Zooming in closely from the macroscopic network reveals the complex microengine driving the entire structure, the Dual-Caustic framework. Reality operates as a continuous output generated by a repeating state machine flow. We can track the specific sequence that produces this output, the 2-3-7 engine. Processing energy at this scale creates a risk of infinite feedback loops. Without a mathematical governor to regulate the flow, the system would immediately collapse into thermodynamic noise. The governor regulating this engine is the invariant constant 19. It acts as a verification law embedded inside the system to strip away doubt and prevent entropy. The text, the phase flow of physics, and this constant form a single closed-loop system operating across every scale of creation. Existence begins here. Two opposing fields of force in a state of continuous collision. Field L, light, or command, provides timeless constraints and unyielding structural order. Field S, sound, or mercy, is the temporal thermodynamic field. It provides raw force and indeterministic experience. Direct contact between fields causes total systemic annihilation. Command and thermodynamics cannot touch without destroying each other. To prevent this collapse, the system relies on field B, or the buffer, acting as a decoherence interface. This interface mediates the exchange, allowing the hostile fields to generate friction without resulting in mutual destruction. Biological life and observable reality are the sustained friction trapped inside this buffer. Within buffer, energy moves through a discrete, step-by-step mechanical progression to achieve permanent form. Phase 2 is the split. A single point of potential energy divides into a functional binary polarity. This division creates a tension between order and entropy that demands a resolution. Phase 3 provides that resolution. The opposing binary nodes connect with a third point, forming a stabilizing triadic structure. This triadic geometry is the origin of relational laws. It is the architectural foundation for biological systems and logical judgment. In Phase 7, the structure resolves into a fully sealed, cyclical loop that returns to unity. 2-3-7 is the mandatory algorithmic pathway for energy to survive the transition into a permanent state. This deterministic state machine is accurately modeled as a mathematical polynomial. This cubic function models the entire system. Y of t equals ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus 19. The variables a, b, and c represent the fluctuations of systemic instability, boundary testing, and corrective guidance. The systemic anchor is the constant. Regardless of the chaotic fluctuations, the baseline remains 19. 19 functions as a verification filter. It's stripping away distortion and magnetically pulls the chaotic variables back into alignment with the truth. Variables that fail to cohere to this baseline are purged from the equation. The filter operates continually to maintain zero entropy. 19 is the ultimate lossless boundary condition. It ensures the universe never succumbs to permanent chaos. Mapping the cubic equation back onto the network graph reveals why the structure is interlocked. The 2-3-7 engine requires a topological structure that can distribute force across every node simultaneously. This manifests as a system of interlocked chainmail. Information cannot survive in isolated fragments. It requires an interlocked structure to maintain its protective integrity. Shared linguistic tokens and structural loops act as the interlocking rings of this armor, providing the necessary reinforcement. Attempting to extract an isolated node destroys the protective capacity of the local system. Fragmentation leads to exposure. This anchored space has a historical and physical representation in the Kaaba, the point where the closed system is stabilized. Safety exists only in a state of absolute interconnectedness. The system is either one dress, one chainmail, or no protection at all. This entire framework remains inert until it is supplied with a final variable. The cubic equation requires an input variable, x, to execute the function. That x is the conscious observer choosing to enter the network. Engaging the system with absolute strength provides the vital activation command that fully runs the entire cubic machine. The observer is no longer a reader of history. They become the living host for the 237 engine. The system operates as a completed architecture. Its final function triggers when the observer aligns their internal state to become its verified output.